as the label was growing and growing and growing, and he's having to make he made the side deal with Rancid and all of that. They had got wind that he was either Brett was either going to sell the Offspring's catalog or sell the whole label, obviously, to basically sell the label.
I don't know much about their beef with Epitaph. Why did the Offspring leave Epitaph?
Okay, so it seems to have been in the long run really a lack of communication, but
Shocking.
it was really over credit and control. So
Okay.
what it was as the label was growing and growing and growing, and he's having to make he made the side deal with Rancid and all of that. They had got wind that Brett was either going to sell the Offspring's catalog or sell the whole label, obviously, to basically sell the label. And their perspective was with it like, wait a minute, we can do this on our own. Like, we can sign to a major. We have the biggest independent thing of all time. Why do we want we want to pick the label we're going to go to? If he sells out to, I don't know, whoever, say Universal or Maverick, or like, now we're stuck on that label. So they were, and Brett always claims that he was never going to do that because once he got Smash out, the label was secure, that he was just meeting with these label heads. Now, it's also a thing of, they were mad at, like, he was doing so Brett was so in demand, like Brett's in all these business magazines and all this stuff,
right,
as a result of everything that happens with Smash. So they kind of got a little bit of cult of personality from him, and again, and his ego was growing. So there's a little bit of that when they built this again. Like, who really deserves credit? It's hard to say. Now, in Brett's defense, he says they were attempting to break their contract. They owed one more record. That's what it was. So they actually owed one more record, and by that point, the Offspring didn't really think that it was necessarily enforceable if it really got to it. But it turned into this thing where eventually they just got so mad at each other over these miscommunications. They're like, did Brett try to sell him? I don't know. Like, he claims he didn't, but they obviously have to. Were they annoyed with him with that? Yeah. Did they also owe him an album? Yes. Like, all of those things are true. It sounds like a thing where they really just couldn't. If they could have kind of come to the table, they probably could have really figured this out and done it, in a better way. I think eventually what happened is Columbia bought out the rights to the third record. So Epitaph did benefit from that financially, I think, and they are on some version. They were considered like a co-distributor of it, but like all of that, went away. And like, they never had really, they've said they've dropped their beef because it was so long ago and they all went on to really successful things. It's not like any of them really made a bad decision here,
right.
But like, they never really reconciled it either. It was one of those things of, two sides got far. But if you like go back, I have an issue of Rolling Stone where they're taking shots at each other. Like, Dexter says, why would I be on an indie when people on the indies are more evil than the people in the major? Like, they are really like, why would I be on a crappy indie? Like,
wow.
It's a totally different thing than Green Day, who had no problems with Lookout. Like, Green Day just literally, they said like they couldn't get their albums into stores was the thing about Green Day.
No, their Green Day didn't have a gripe. They had a goal.
Yeah, and again, and even Larry Livermore, who he always said, like, I wish I could. How come I couldn't have been? We could have been Brett and done this. You really couldn't have. What Brett did was pretty unprecedented. So like, I also get the ego that Brett has. So really, and Dexter and Noodles have both said that if they could all kind of sat in a room, hammered it out, figured out what was actually true, what was going on, the split probably does happen, but it would have been way more of a
more amicable.
Split. Yeah, Brett also fell back into drugs in the mid 90s, and that is part of it too. So I think as the ego was growing, that was affecting the relationship.
That's not good for any relationship. So.
Right. And think of it like, you take the Offspring out of it, it's still probably a crazy business when this band Rancid is going platinum on you. NoFX has Punk and Drublic coming out. Pennywise, right. Everything's going. The Warped Tour is happening. So there's still a lot going on. I think it was just too much success, really. That's what it was. It was too much success.
Well, that makes everybody a little more egotistical and a little more, honestly, probably a little more on edge too, because you're thinking like, oh, I'm about to get stabbed in the back and da-da-da-da-da. Like, that's a real fear. When you get famous like that, bro, you start to fear everything, man. I've read a lot of stories, listened to a lot of, what would you call it, where people, testimonials about people that had like, Oh no, man! When I wasn't doing that good, everything was fine. As soon as I was doing good, I couldn't trust nobody. Everybody was trying to get something from me. It was all about, watch your back versus we're all trying to get somewhere. So my thought process on that would be then if that's why they split and that was Offspring's beef, then they had absolutely no right to be mad because you signed a contract saying that you would do these records. Whether you get big or not, are you going to get just as mad if you don't sell shit and then he wants to sell your record to your catalog and you're going to profit off of that? So let's reverse it. You didn't sell no records. He lost his ass on it. Now he wants to sell it to Columbia to try to recoup some of the investment. Now, are you still going to be pissed off? No, of course not. So shut up and do what you were supposed to do. I'm a man of the people, bro. But the people need to do what the people say they're going to do. I'm also a man of principle. If you tell me you're going to do something and then you just don't do it, why would I want to be your friend still? Now you can come to me and ask me, and maybe they did ask him, but he had every right in the world to just say, well, no, it doesn't. It behooves me to stay in this deal and to talk to these label heads because what he was talking to them about is none of our business. Those were closed door meetings. So, just because
he alleged that they claim they asked for a stake in the company too. I need to throw that in there.
Well, what business do they have of asking for that?
But they have categorically denied that as well. And he says now he doesn't remember ever saying that, even though it's on the record that he said that. So
wow.
I'm just saying that to put context to every.
Yeah.
So this is really like it reminded me of like a couple of years ago the New England Patriots broke up because they had too much success. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what that reminds me of just like everyone when everyone actually deserves all the credit. Like sometimes power dynamics are good in these ways. You know what I mean? Like playing your role, doing your thing, and kind of that's sometimes good.
It's weird, man.
You're both very much contributing to a very successful thing, and in this case, unprecedented. Like this had never happened before, and it did here. Like think of all the history of punk rock we talk about, and the Ramones and the Pistols, and all of that precedes this. This is the first time it ever actually happened.
Right.
It wasn't Nevermind. It wasn't long. It was this.
Ramones didn't get close to this. The Sex Pistols didn't get close. Like not even sniffing it, bro. It's funny too because, I don't know. It's. I don't want to keep talking about it because we're going to start talking in circles. But I did appreciate the conversation. I did learn something from you because I didn't understand why they ever split. I thought it was a like amicable. We're going to go here. They're like, okay, good luck, man. No, it was a real.
It was beef. Like I don't have it here, but there's a cover of a magazine. It was 1996. Metallica was on the cover, and the little thing. Offspring versus Epitaph, like on the cover of Rolling Stone.
No
magazine.
shit.
Like that's how it was. And again, like think about it, like how much support did the Offspring probably really get in that? That might be why they've been sort of put to the side bin because who's going to come off like the good guy in all of that, especially to people like you and I? It's going to be Brett. Like I'm more empathetic, like I think to the Offspring side than maybe you are, but like your points are all valid. Like I'm not. Like you are wrong. I see it from their perspective.
To their side, I get it, but still didn't.
I think if it ever got
agreed on,
if it ever got litigated, I think Brett was right.
It just bothers me because that I feel like that happens a lot where somebody agrees to help you out, and the stipulation had nothing to do with whether or not you got big. Because if you didn't get big and they lost their ass, you're not going to go then offer them some money. You're not going to go and offer Brett some of the money that he just spent. If he lost, let's say he lost $1.5 million and your record flopped, are you going to now go get second jobs, start side project bands, go tour, save up some money and go, hey man, I know you spent 1.5 on us. Here's a third of that, man. Here's $500,000, dude. We're sorry we couldn't help you out. No, you're not. So why is it when you get big, you still signed it's like you can't now is there room for renegotiations? Absolutely, and I would imagine he would have been open to some of that. Maybe not.
And that's the thing. That's why it's really a failure of like communication more than anything. When you really look about it, that's what it was. Because that's what he probably just would have sold them at a better deal than probably what they got because they would have been all on that page. Or we've seen in the past where a band will give a live album to an indie label, in the middle of their cycle. Like there definitely would have been a way to.
Hey Brett, can we get out of our deal with you if we drop a live album and an EP over the next couple of years? If we can get that in our deal with these guys, I think they'll be okay with an EP and a live album. What do you think? You know what? Screw it, man. Go there and get even bigger. Drop the EP. As a matter of fact, do the EP first as the sayonara, and then drop a live album in the next 12 to 18 months. Bro, I think he'd have banged out some money doing that. It takes conversation though. It takes communication. That's a weird scenario, man. That sucks, dude.
Yeah, and
But
it's and again they speak friendly of each other, even though I don't think they've ever really talked.
that's insane to me.